Hey there everyone, this is Paper Tony, and today we're going to be talking about and reviewing Just Cause 3. I think it's safe to say that Just Cause 3 is a game that knows what it is and it knows what it's trying to do. It's basically the epitome of open-world sandbox shooting video games. It's a game where you fly around, you go to an enemy base, you see things that need to be blown up, and then you go blow up those things. It's certainly a flawed experience with some technical issues and bugs, especially early at launch, and some just odd design choices that Avalanche made. In the end though, Just Cause 3 is a crazy, wild, wacky, silly adventure with explosions, fire, and explosions, and if that's what you want from a video game, that is what Just Cause 3 offers. Now, one of my favorite things about this video game has to be the wingsuit. Like I was saying before, Just Cause 3 is basically open world sandbox game in the video game and is the epitome of being in a sandbox game. The tools at Rico's disposal, both in terms of movement and combat, are what make the game so satisfying to play, and the wingsuit is a big part of that, I think. With the wingsuit, players can fly around the huge and expansive Medici countryside, and when I say expansive, I really mean expansive. From sandy beaches to snowy mountains and grassy plains, the world of Just Cause 3 is massive, and it is filled with some gorgeously rendered landscapes. And using the wingsuit, grappling hook, and parachute combination, players can traverse the world with ease. And wingsuiting is so elegant and so graceful. As fun as wingsuiting is, it's not the only way to get around Medici. The game gives players a wide variety of vehicles to drive, fly, and boat around in? Boat? Is that a verb? Nautical around in? I don't know. In terms of ground vehicles in the game, sports cars are pretty much the best. They handle exceptionally well as long as you're a pretty good driver. Jets and planes in Just Cause 3 handle really well also. It's super fun to fly around, and if you don't want to be wingsuiting around all the time, jets and planes are a completely viable way of flying around Medici. However, not every vehicle in the game handles this well, unfortunately. For some weird reason, motorcycles, ATVs, and some suburban vehicles like vans and stuff don't handle well, and in some cases they handle extremely poorly. This is especially the case for motorcycles, which is quite unfortunate. It seems like they just didn't tune the handling right in motorcycles. Like, you're either going completely straight forward or you're veering off to the side wildly, and I have no idea why they did that. I guess it kind of makes sense that in a suburban van it wouldn't handle super great, but motorcycles should be super cool, right? Like, if you're riding motorcycles are cool. If you're riding one, you're cool. Motorcycles should be cool. Unfortunately, in Just Cause 3, motorcycles are not cool. They are just very frustrating. There's only a small number of times when you're actually forced to be in the motorcycle in the game, but that doesn't excuse the bad controls in my opinion. Luckily though, Avalanche did a stellar job designing their combat vehicles in this game. They really did. Jets, tanks, and helicopters are all so satisfying to use, and they did a good job of making some interesting features on unique vehicles that I'm not going to talk about here for risk of spoilers. Just know that combat vehicles are fun to use and complement the gameplay nicely. The story of Just Cause 3 is pretty simple, bare bones, and lackluster. It involves Rico Rodriguez and his band of rebels freeing Medici from an evil, tyrannical dictator. The story presents a cast of pretty quirky characters, and the dialogue is actually surprisingly humorous and fun sometimes. But if you want more than quirky characters and you want a story that's actually deep and satisfying, then Just Cause 3 is not that experience.
Look, before we get down to business, there's something I need to say. I am a rotten, backstabbing old bastard.
That's true.
I double-crossed a lot of despots who thought I was their best goddamn friend. But in the end, Rico, there's only 3 people I trust. Myself, obviously, Uncle Sam, and you.
The story is just presence enough to give some scenarios for story missions and to give a slight justification for why you're blowing up everything in the game. The true core of the Just Cause 3 experience, when you're not pretending to be in Wingsuit Simulator 2015, lies in liberating settlements all around Medici, which basically means flying in and then blowing up everything you see. Every settlement Rico runs into has a bunch of chaos objects, or basically red colored objects, that need to be taken out. Settlements can range from tiny towns to huge sprawling military bases. Zipping around the large military bases while rockets are flying by and snipers are taking aim at you is so fun. Trying to find creative ways to blow up everything around you while things are exploding and bullets are flying by is so thrilling and exciting, and I wish the whole game was able to match with these levels of excitement. It can really be a fun, engaging, and chaotic experience. I think that the amount of fun a person will have with this game is directly related to how much creative experimentation they want to do. Just Cause 3 gives the player a variety of tools, a grapple that can tether objects together, an infinite number of plastic explosives, a good variety of weapons, and a very fast weapon and vehicle drop system. All of these give the player a lot of creative options, and it's a blast. It's a blast to experiment with all of these tools and see what crazy, wonky things the physics engine is going to do. And crazy, wonky things will happen very, very frequently. And the explosions never fail to look really cool. Eventually though, I think the repetitive nature of what you're doing in the game begins to sneak up on you a little bit. This is especially true in the smaller settlements and bases you run into. You'll find yourself doing the same things over and over again. You'll be opening doors to rebels over and over. You'll be pulling down statues over and over. You'll be finding propaganda vans and blowing them up over and over and over. You see, in these smaller settlements, there's just a lot less stuff going on. There's a lot less enemies shooting at you. There's a lot less things to blow up. There's just a lot less chaotic mess going around your head, and that unfortunately means that it's a lot less engaging to liberate these smaller settlements. And because of how the progression system works in Just Cause 3, liberating these smaller settlements is pretty much mandatory. Upgrades for Rico in Just Cause 3 are based solely around completing side objectives throughout the game, and unfortunately, side objectives are only unlocked by liberating settlements, both big and small. So, in order to upgrade Rico, you need to liberate a bunch of settlements, and then do some side activities, and then maybe you can upgrade Rico. The abilities and equipment Rico can unlock throughout the game are very useful. So useful that they're basically a necessity. Additional tethers, fast travel flares, supply drop beacons, nitrous for vehicles, mobility enhancements for the wingsuit, precision aiming. All of these can be unlocked through the progression system, but like I said before, progression is only based on your performance in side activities. And the side activities are so not fun. Your choices of side activities are racing through rings in a vehicle or the wingsuit, blowing up enemy bases where all the enemies are completely gone, target practice, or picking up rocks, like driving around a car and then picking up rocks and taking them to another place. Does that sound like fun? Once you do start unlocking upgrades for Rico though, they feel really helpful and fun to use. The other big issue I had with the game was some bugginess and some technical issues, especially at the launch of the game. I heard that the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions have some frame rate issues as well as some pretty absurdly long load times. I haven't played these versions myself, so I can't say from personal experience. On the PC though, I've experienced a lot of issues, especially at launch, including a few hard crashes about every hour or so, which really takes you out of the experience. Once I installed the driver updates, the hard crashes completely stopped, but I did still experience a little bit of jitteriness and a little bit of frame rate issues, though not as much as before the updates. With all that said though, when Just Cause 3 is working properly and you're just zipping around in your wingsuit, tying tethers to things, blowing up stuff and causing general chaos, Just Cause 3 can be really cool. And now it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for, to bring out our super awesome, fancy, patent pending Should You Play It-ometer! So, should you play Just Cause 3? Green for yes, yellow for maybe, and red for no. And the Should You Play It-ometer says maybe. If you want to wingsuit around, if you want to do some creative experimentation with the tools the game offers, or if you just want to look at explosions for a while, then Just Cause 3 is definitely for you. However, the game does suffer from some repetition, a lackluster story, an odd upgrade system, and some bugs and technical glitches. So that is Just Cause 3. It's a game that's not going to be for everyone, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. And that is it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Paper Tony. Stay tuned and I'll see you next time.